Hi, I'm Rob at the Hayneedle Fulfillment Center in Monroe, Ohio. This is a short video on the assembly of the oversized Granddaddy Adirondack chair with pull-out Ottoman. The estimated time on this assembly is around half an hour to 40 minutes, and the tools you will need is a Phillips head screwdriver, a 14mm wrench, and a 10mm wrench, all which are not provided. We're going to start by opening our box. When using a sharp object, always remember to cut away from yourself. Cut along the seam, making small incisions to make sure you don't damage your product. After you remove all of your pieces from the box, locate your instructions. On the first page, you'll find a parts and hardware list. Take a brief inventory to make sure you have all the pieces needed for your assembly. First, we'll be attaching our base support to our pre-assembled base. To do this, we'll be using our hardware B, which is a 1.5-inch screw. There are pre-drilled holes on the base, which we will line up the holes on the back support with and tighten our screws into place using a Phillips head screwdriver. Then we'll move on to our next step. Now we'll be attaching our front legs. To do this, we'll be using two of our bolts labeled as E. Start by pulling the Ottoman all the way out of your base. Then take your first leg, making sure your notch is facing the Ottoman, and line it up with the two holes in your base. Using your bolt and your first washer, now take your second bolt, just like so. To tighten on the opposite side, start first with your flat washer, then your hex nut, and tighten both of your bolts into place. Repeat this step for your second leg on the opposite side. Now that you have both your legs on, go back with a 14mm wrench on the nut side and a Phillips head screwdriver on the pin side and tighten all four into place. Be sure not to over tighten to avoid stripping. Next, we'll attach our front cross member to our legs, fitting the grooves in with the grooves of the legs, and using our hardware labeled as B, our 1.5-inch screws, place two and tighten into place using your Phillips head screwdriver. Next, we'll be attaching our arm supports in the back of our chair. To do this, first we'll be using our hardware E. Start by using the hole in your armrest to put the peg in your seat in like so. Then, using your hardware bolt, then washer, place in and through the base. Tighten your bolts on the opposite side using your washer, then your nut. Again, using your 14mm wrench and screwdriver. Next, where you put your seat into your armrest, using your hardware D, the washer and bolt, just simply screw into place using a screwdriver. Repeat this step for the opposite side. Next, we'll attach our back seat supports. To do this, we'll use our hardware labeled as A, put two into the pre-drilled holes on the back of your chair, and using a Phillips head screwdriver, tighten into place. Repeat this step for your second support on the opposite side. Next, we'll be attaching our back support to our brackets we just installed. To do this, we'll be using our hardware labeled as C. Just simply stick the bolt through, place the nut on the opposite end, and this time using a 10mm wrench and a screwdriver, tighten into place. Be sure you don't over tighten to avoid stripping. Repeat this step for your second bracket. Using three of our bolts labeled as F, we're going to now install our armrest. Place the armrest and align the holes up just perfect. Take your first bolt with the washer on end, and from the inside, place one into each hole. Once you have all 3 bolts in place, take your remaining flat washer and nut and hand tighten on the opposite side. Then, using a 14mm wrench and a Phillips head screwdriver, tighten each into place. Repeat this step for your opposite side. And once you tighten all of your bolts on the opposite side, your chair will be complete. And there you have your finished Adirondack chair.